My jealous sister tried to sabotage my relationship by telling my girlfriend I was an unbalanced liar, but what happened after that was the most satisfying thing in my life. I didn't intend to air family drama online, but honestly, I'm so annoyed that I can't let this go. So, here's the situation. I have my life pretty much in order. I worked hard during college, got a good engineering job, and kept a low profile. No wild parties, no arrests, none of that. I'm not perfect, but I don't have any skeletons in my closet. For the last 4 years, I've been with my girlfriend, Riley. She's smart, beautiful, incredibly funny, and most importantly, solid. She's not the type to play games or get caught up in drama. We've built something real, something most people our age don't even know how to start. We were talking about moving in together this summer, signed the lease, buying furniture, the whole thing. Life was finally peaceful. Then, Megan showed up. Megan is my older sister. And when I say older, I mean she's been acting like an irresponsible teenager for the last 10 years. She married a loser right out of high school, dropped out of college, spent years bouncing between part-time jobs, and finally ended up in the middle of a horrible divorce. No money, no apartment, no real friends to help her. My parents, who used to bend over backwards for her, finally cut her off after years of bailing her out. They were fed up, and honestly, I couldn't blame them. She called me a few months ago, practically begging. I told her she could stay at my place for a few months until she got back on her feet. I set boundaries from day one. Pay for your stuff, don't touch my things, don't mess with my relationship. Simple and pretty reasonable, if you ask me. At first, she was okay with it. She helped clean, cooked some meals, acted like she had everything under control. Riley wasn't thrilled, but she trusted me to handle it. Looking back, it seemed like too much of an act on her part. Then she started with her little show. Just small things, subtle comments. They were comments like, "Wow, she really trusts you, huh? She's probably never heard the stories about you in college. I'm just saying, you were wild back then." At first, I brushed it off. I wasn't a saint in college. Sure, I drank, went out late sometimes, but I wasn't a womanizer, I wasn't irresponsible, and most importantly, I wasn't unfaithful to anyone, especially not Riley. I didn't even know her until after that part of my life. I chalked it up to Megan being bitter. She's always had a way of manipulating things to fit the drama she lives in. I should have anticipated what was coming. Riley started asking weird questions, subtle at first, like she didn't want to offend me or accuse me of anything. She'd say things like, "You were different then, weren't you? Did you ever think you weren't the type of person to be in a serious relationship?" The first time, I brushed it off with a laugh, but the second time, then the third, I realized someone was putting things in her head. I confronted her directly. She hesitated, then admitted that Megan had mentioned some things, that I was a heartbreaker in college, that I couldn't keep my pants on, that I had a type of girl and Riley wasn't it, that Riley was just the safe bet for me. First of all, it was complete nonsense, and second, I didn't even live in the same city as Megan during college. She was playing house with her loser husband while I was busting my butt in another state. It was pure fabrication made up out of thin air, and Riley, my girlfriend, was listening to it. Megan was acting completely normal with me, joking around, watching TV, cooking like she wasn't trying to destroy my relationship behind my back. I decided I needed to get ahead of this, but the breaking point came last night. I found a half-written diary that Megan left open on the coffee table. Normally, I respect privacy, but she was staying in my house, causing a mess, so I wasn't going to give her any more chances. In the diary, she was writing about how she was protecting Riley, how she was saving her from heartbreak because I was born to cheat and didn't know how to love someone. She really thought she was a hero in a story. She really thought she was doing the right thing. I took a picture of it, just in case, because you never know. When Riley got home, I showed it to her. I told her directly that if she was doubting me because of Megan, we needed to talk about it now before things got worse. Riley looked like she wanted to throw up. She said she needed time to think. Now I'm here, writing this, wondering what the hell is going to happen. I'm not going to let my sister destroy my life because she doesn't know how to manage hers. I'm giving Riley space, but Megan has less than 24 hours to pack her things. She crossed a line that you can't come back from. Edit. Because some people seem to be getting the wrong idea about Riley, let me clear things up. I understand how it can sound from the outside like she's an insecure, naive girlfriend who can be manipulated just because my sister whispered a few things in her ear. Riley's not like that. She's probably one of the most self-assured people I've ever met. She's not the type to snoop through phones, get angry over unfounded accusations, or let anyone, family or not, mess with her head that easily. But she's also smart enough to know when it's better to ask questions instead of making assumptions. That's the difference. She didn't come to me accusing me of anything. She didn't start drama. She just wanted to clear her thoughts because the situation smelled fishy. And honestly, she wasn't wrong. Something wasn't right. Riley is the type of person who sticks up for herself and the people she loves. That's part of why I'm sharing all of this, not because I think she's weak, but because I know she's strong enough to handle the truth and defend her position when necessary. If the roles were reversed and one of my friends came to me whispering that she had some dark secret she never told me, I'd have questions too. That doesn't mean I'd blindly believe it. It means I'd go straight to the source and have a real conversation like an adult. That's exactly what Riley is doing. Megan underestimated Riley, thinking she could ensnare her so easily. Riley isn't a pawn, and she's definitely not someone you can turn against me with a few lies. If anything, this whole situation is only making us stronger, and Megan is about to learn that the hard way. Anyway, I just wanted to make that clear before I post any updates. I appreciate the people who understand. Update 1. First of all, I'm one of those people who appreciates it when someone takes the trouble to read my story. Now let me tell you the update, and believe me, it's good. Things at home after the post weren't good. Megan was still lurking around, pretending to mind her own business, but it was obvious she was just waiting for the perfect moment to strike again, and she had to be patient, because that moment came the second Riley showed up at my house. When Riley arrived, everything seemed normal at first. She came in smiling, greeted me with a hug, and kissed me on the cheek as always. But when her eyes saw Megan sitting on the sofa, something changed. It was more like a complete annoyance. Riley felt the tension instantly, and Megan didn't even try to hide her discomfort. She was pretending to look at her phone, but every few seconds she looked up, giving us glances. I didn't say anything. Riley isn't dumb. She picked up on it immediately, and knowing her, I knew she wouldn't let this pass. As expected, Riley didn't back down. We sat on the sofa, ordered food, and got ready to relax and play video games, but Megan couldn't let things stay calm for long. She waited for just the moment when I went into the kitchen, and then she made her move. Later, Riley told me what happened. Megan's approach was classic, all sweet, trying to act like she was just worried. She put on a fake smile and pretended she wanted to have a sincere chat, telling Riley that she had concerns about me. Of course, she wasn't really worried about me. She was just trying to get Riley to buy into the twisted story she had made up. Megan started with a long, complicated monologue about my supposed dark past, trying to paint me as someone emotionally unstable. She said I was an unbalanced liar and that I was pretending to love Riley. She even hinted that Riley was young and could still get out of the relationship before it was too late. However, Riley didn't react the way Megan expected. She let her talk, allowing her to dig her own hole. Riley stood there saying nothing until Megan finally ran out of steam. It was almost as if Riley was giving her enough rope to hang herself. After Megan finished her speech, Riley was quiet for a moment. Then, to Megan's surprise, Riley simply laughed, which made it clear that she was completely aware of how ridiculous Megan sounded. Megan couldn't even avoid mocking her for trying to sell such a bad story. Riley didn't hold back. She told Megan that if she really thought she would believe her, she was gravely mistaken. After spending years with me, Riley knew exactly who I was, and the lies Megan was telling didn't even come close to making her doubt. If anything, it made her realize how deeply Megan had been plotting to create drama where there was none. Riley called her jealous, bitter, and incapable of seeing me happy with someone else. Riley didn't stop there. Megan's face turned as red as a tomato. She went from feeling arrogant and confident to being completely embarrassed. She looked for an excuse, trying to backtrack and claim that she only wanted to help, that she had no bad intentions. But Riley didn't believe her for a second. With nowhere else to go, Megan did what she knows best. She ran off to her room, slamming the door behind her. Riley, on the other hand, remained calm. Then, when I returned, she made a joke about how I owed her ice cream for not giving Megan a punch in the face. At that moment, I already knew that Riley could defend herself, but when she told me everything that happened, I was honestly surprised. She wasn't just defending me, she was making it clear that no one, not even my sister, could separate us. Later that night, Megan sent a long text message to Riley, trying to apologize for overstepping and saying that she was just being protective. Riley didn't respond. The next morning, she blocked her everywhere. No explanation, no drama. Since then, Megan has been avoiding both of us. She knows she can't pull any more tricks without looking even more pathetic than she already is. The 24-hour period has already elapsed, which means she has been kicked out of the house. I wouldn't say she left on her own accord. It took a bit of work to get her out of here. Update 2. Well, a few days have passed and things are how they have been these days. After Megan made that derogatory comment to Riley, which by the way she handled like a boss, I realized that just kicking her out wasn't going to work. She might keep trying to do things. I wasn't going to let my sister continue on her stupid crusade even when Riley wasn't going to believe her. After Riley left the house, I called Megan. I told her that I knew exactly what she had said. I told her that she had completely crossed the line, and I told her clearly, one more of those and you run out of brother, no more help of any kind. You'd think an adult woman would apologize or at least bend an arm, right? Well, no. Megan reaffirmed herself. She complained that I had already kicked her out, and now she had to sleep on a small sofa at a friend's house, that it showed who I was and how Riley deserved to know who I really was. I asked her if she thought she was protecting Riley from me. She had nothing, just vague insults and incoherent stories that made no sense. The conversation ended with her hanging up the phone like a teenager. I thought that was it for the night. I was wrong. The next morning, Riley sent me a message that made my blood boil. Hey, why did your sister text me last night? Apparently, after our discussion, Megan went completely crazy, sending Riley a huge wall of text from her friend's cell phone. It wasn't just derogatory comments anymore. This time, she sent fake evidence, old photos from when I was in college at some party, literally from public Instagram posts that Riley had already seen before, and wove an absurd story in which I was hiding my true self and couldn't be faithful. She even dragged my ex-girlfriend into all this, a girl I dated for like 3 months in freshman year, trying to make it sound like I was a serial cheater. It was desperate and pathetic. Riley sent me screenshots of everything. Her response to Megan was short and brutal. You should be ashamed. If you really cared about your brother, you would support his happiness, not try to sabotage it. Lose my number. God, I love that woman. At this point, Megan had officially crossed a line that she couldn't come back from, so I did what I had to do. I packed the things she had left behind when she was kicked out on bad terms and left them neatly messed up on the side of the door. I didn't want to kick them again if she had to leave. Finally, I called her to tell her that she could come and pick up her things, but she didn't answer, so I left her a message. Finally, she appeared. She tried to play the victim with tears and blame, all the theater, saying, my things all ruined outside, and all because I tried to help them. She was trying to strengthen their relationship by going through some crisis. Are you going to regret this when she breaks your heart? I told her, you're regretting biting the hand that feeds you. If you were worried about your things, you would have at least waited to take them before trying to ruin my relationship again. She grabbed her things and left in a storm of passive-aggressive murmurs. But still, my update doesn't end there. Still missing 2 days after, my mom called me. Apparently, Megan went straight to her house crying about how cold I was and how I threw her out on the street. My mom was upset, obviously. It's Mom. It hurts to see her children fight. But when I explained everything and sent her the screenshots that Riley gave me, she was really sick. She apologized for even questioning me and said that Megan needed a serious reality check. Dad wasn't so forgiving. He called Megan and told her clearly that she had embarrassed the family and that she wasn't welcome at his house until she apologized to me and Riley, so now Megan is basically in self-exile. She hasn't apologized and she's barely sent me a message, just a pathetic, I hope you're happy. I don't know what Riley sees in a fish face like you. I left her on scene. Meanwhile, Riley and I are fine, better than good. Honestly, all this drama somehow further consolidated things between us, so my sister was somewhat right, even if she didn't do it for those intentions. Riley had been saying for a while that she wanted to officially move in, and after all this, I felt like it was the right time. So yes, yesterday we signed a lease together. New place, new start, no chaotic goblins are allowed to live for free. We move in 2 weeks. Update 3. Before I start, I want to thank that there are intelligent, good people and on the right side, because I have also received comments from people as unbalanced as Megan, people who read my story and looked for some phrase to attack me, like that in the end Megan helped my relationship because it made it stronger and that I am doing drama for nothing. Well, for you, I have some words. First, the relationship is stronger because Riley is not influenceable. That is positive, and I love that she is not. But that does not mean that my sister has tried to destroy my life. Second, if you think my sister was helping me, it's time for you to go to the doctor quickly. The crayon lodged in your brain won't let you think, but anyway, enough of giving importance to people who think because it's free, leaving the intelligence stored at home. After we got rid of Megan, things really felt good for a while, which shows what the problem was. Riley and I were just normal. We also talked more about the topic. Riley admitted that, although she never really believed Megan's rubbish, hearing all that noise over and over again had affected her a little, not because she thought I was guilty, but because it made her wonder why Megan was so obsessed with it in the first place. It's fair when people start spreading rumors for no benefit to them. It's usually something personal. I thought it might be having an emotional incest or something, which caused me more disgust than you can imagine, not only because she's my sister, but because she's the most entitled person I've ever met. Anyway, about a week later, Riley receives a call from my mom, which was weird. They get along well, but it's not like they're calling each other just to chat. I could tell that something was wrong by the way Riley's face tensed when she answered. Apparently Megan went to cry to my parents, well, I guess mainly to my mom again, not for having kicked her out, not for having mistreated her. But she made up a completely new story saying that Riley controlled me, isolated me, and tried to turn me against the family. In other words, Megan realized that attacking me wasn't working, so now she turned it to make Riley the bad guy. I only found out because after Riley hung up, she told me everything without hesitation. That's how we work. No secrets, no games. I immediately called my mom. My mom answered, and as soon as I brought up the subject, she got defensive, saying that Megan was emotional and was just trying to take care of me. I asked her directly if she really thought Riley was controlling or manipulative. My mom tried to get around the question, but I could tell that Megan had planted seeds and they started to grow. It made me angry, I'm not going to lie, because what the hell? They know Megan and how she is the last time they saw through her lies and they didn't care. My best guess at this point is that Megan harassed my mom so much that she decided to do it just to get Megan off of her, but I know my dad wouldn't agree with this. I didn't tell him because that would bring more drama from my parents, and I think he'd be fine not knowing anything. But going back to what I was saying, Riley has never isolated me from anything. In fact, she has always encouraged me to stay close to the family even when they are difficult. I finished the call telling my mom that I am an adult man. If they really had a problem with Riley, they could talk to me directly, not do whisper campaigns as if we were in high school. Riley, being Riley, remained calm. She told me, "You are not responsible for their behavior, only for yours." It was then that I realized something big. All this time, Megan was not only trying to ruin my relationship, she was trying to make sure to remain relevant in my life, even if she had to burn all the bridges to do it. The last straw came a couple of days later. Riley and I were at a friend's birthday party, normal event, people we've known for years. Guess who showed up? Megan, but the crazy thing is that she wasn't invited. She found out through Instagram. At first, she stayed behind as if she were near the bar. Then when Riley and I were on the other side of the room talking to some friends, Megan approached a group of mutual acquaintances, people who didn't know the whole story, and started talking badly about Riley. I didn't even hear it firsthand. One of my friends, Tom, heard it and came straight to tell me. He said, "Dude, your sister is making Riley sound like a clingy girl." I walked straight towards Megan and told her clearly, "This has to stop right now." I told her that if she ever reappeared without being invited, if she ever tried to involve my friends or my girlfriend, we were going to involve lawyers. I don't care that she's my sister. This was over now. She tried to pull the card of, "I only worry about you" one more time. I told her, "If you worry, worry from afar." Riley and I left after that just to prevent things from getting uglier. Since then, there have been no messages, no calls, nothing from Megan. I don't know what will be the next move with my family. Obviously, Megan has left my mom, half believing her version of the events, but for now I focus on Riley and keeping the people who deserve to be in my life inside it. Riley never made this about choosing between her and my family. She told me that this is my decision, the limit I must put, and that is exactly why I am choosing her. Update 4. I thought I owed an update to all the people who stuck around following this whole ridiculous situation. A few days after all the drama of the uninvited appearance, I started receiving messages from friends and acquaintances of the family. They started filling my phone with vague messages like, "Hey man, I heard some crazy things." At first I didn't even connect the dots. I thought maybe someone from high school I knew had been arrested or something like that. But no. It turns out that Megan had been busy contacting everyone she could think of. Former neighbors, friends of the family, distant relatives she hadn't seen in centuries. She told them that I was unstable, that I was emotionally abusive, and even said that I was dangerous and that Riley was afraid to leave. None of that made sense to the people who really knew me, but you know how it is. Rumors stick faster than the truth. Riley saw the messages I was receiving and sat me down to talk. She told me, "Of course we can't live like this, not with her always lurking." And she was right. I made a threat to Megan that she decided not to listen to, and threats are only useful if you are willing to fulfill them. We called a lawyer, and now we are suing my sister for both defamation as well as harassment. It's going to be a monetary lawsuit, but we're also going to demand a restraining order that prevents her from talking about us. It's just beginning, and it already causes me stress. I have anxiety because I would like to have that in my hands already, so that she shuts up once and for all. The good thing is that as long as she keeps talking, it will be better for our case. We are looking for all the possible evidence and sending it to my lawyer. Update 5. The first thing we got was a restraining order, which was also quickly broken. Megan decided to violate it to try to reason with us and stop this madness, according to her words. But when we saw that it was her, my proposal was to call the police, but Riley said to do it while she went out to talk face to face. Megan was not expecting her, so she was surprised when she came out. They began to argue, and Megan told her that everything that I was doing to her was a clear sign that I was not someone who could be trusted. According to Megan, I was trying to silence the people who want to warn her. It's funny that, depending on who you ask, my sister has a different answer and a different bad guy. Riley told her to shut up for once and to mind her own business, but Megan wanted to escalate things even further. She began to tell her that if she was afraid of leaving me or whatever she could count on her, that she would protect her. Then, she took her by the arm and tried to take her away. But Riley let go and pushed her away with a single push that made her fall. Then she told her not to touch her again, or she would leave her face like a bruised fruit. Megan was yelling at her that she only wanted to help and that she was just as violent as me. Finally, the police arrived and we explained everything. It didn't take much for them to take her where she spent 30 days. Now you will wonder if, after leaving, she tried anything? The reality is that no, but that is because my father acted again. After leaving, she went straight to their house to try to stay, and although my mother was open to the possibility, my father denied her entry outright. He also told her to leave his brother and his girlfriend in peace, and although she looked at Mom to see if she helped her, my mother ended up telling her that the best thing was to stay away for a while and stop bothering me. After that came the other demands that were a little juicier thanks to her arrest. She will have to compensate us for a figure that I will not reveal. With Riley, we thought that maybe we could use it to decorate our new home and save the rest. For me, this was the most satisfying thing in my life. It's okay that it wasn't anything nice to live it, but seeing how it turned out, I can't complain. If my sister tries anything, she will spend much more than 30 days locked up, but I trust that she has learned the lesson. But also there is the money. The money is always satisfactory, especially when it comes from people who deserve to pay for the things they did. So it has been quiet everything since her arrest. Months have passed since that, and we have not had a single news from her, nothing either when we got the results of the lawsuit a few weeks ago. She has probably found another person to harass. If you find someone saying that a woman named Megan, divorced, is trying to ruin their relationship, she may be doing her thing. At least it will be good to read these things and not be the protagonist of the story for once. I also hope that this can be the end of mine.